Happy Thursday. Let me check that the tweet went through. Yes, it did. I'm gonna go ahead and set my phone down. Give me 1 second. Alrighty, welcome. We have a very special stream today. This is a new project that I've been thinking of for a while now and wanted to actually try to execute. Normally, before I do a project, I try to do a lot of research and see, okay, what is it that I need? Or what is it that I need to know? How am I actually going to make this happen? So, in terms of the actual production side of things, I have not looked into any of it. That is something that I do plan to do in the future. But for now, I just thought it would be fun to just design some of the mascots into plushies and what they may be. Let me actually go ahead and introduce this this stream for today. So as you could tell by the title, we are designing NijisanjiEN mascots. And so we're not only drawing them, but we're gonna try to turn them into little plushies. And I have an idea for how to use these plushies. And so I wrote here, it's a headband, right? So my idea is to get, find a manufacturer who can make small plushies. I'm guessing they're probably gonna be about this big. And then put them on top of a headband so that people can walk around with mascots on their head. I think it's a really cute idea. I really want one of these for myself. I'll just probably put Pomodachis up at the top, or I'll put one Pomodachi, one Wilsonier, one Drop Scythe, and then and I Admire. But I think my goal when I make a lot of, well, my goal so far has been to create something that everyone can have. So with the masks, I'm trying to make all of NijiEN so that way people can enjoy the masks from any generation that you're from. Obviously, I'm a Pomodachi and I've made Pomu accessories, I've made Pomu headbands, but I want to make products that'll reach a bunch of other fans in the community. And so I think this will be another project that will be able to do that. Also, this will be quite different from my mask streams. Overall, my approach for making things has changed. Going into this, I originally had plans to do these mascots by hand, and I realized that it probably wouldn't work out because it's a lot of work. And also, if they're smaller, they're going to be pretty difficult to make on my own. And so I thought, why don't I try to create another project that I could ship off to a manufacturer, have them do it for me, and then I could be able to distribute and sell them to people a lot faster than I would if I did it myself. But also it'll give me time to continue to work on masks and to continue to do other projects as well. So that's more stuff to think about later. As of now, we are going to start with this. Give me 1 second to make sure everything is working on my end. Okay, so we are going to be flipping in between these two screens. Give me a second. There we go. Okay. So This will be the screen in which we are actually looking at the designs of each mascot and then seeing what kind of dimensions that we're looking at, what kind of material they're going to be made out of. Are like the face pieces going to be embroidery, or are they going to actually be pieces of fabric? So looking into the more intricate details of plush making. And then this screen is going to be picking out each color that I want to have on the plushies. And so my whole idea for this is that if I'm pitching this idea to a manufacturer, what is it that I need to have ready for them? And so right off the top of my head, dimension. Dimension is really important. So what we're going to go over here, I have a trusty ruler. We're going to try to figure out, okay, how big does each plush need to be in order to fit on a headband? How many plushies can we fit on a headband? I think it would be cool to be able to get 5 on a headband, because I was gonna say the highest, the most number of members from a group is 5, but that's actually 6. That's a Luna. 6 might be a little bit of a stretch depending on if the plushies can stay on the sides here without sliding off. But we'll see if we can make it work. Another thing that we need to keep in mind is what is the smallest plush manufacturer can make. Because obviously I won't be doing these ones, and if it's difficult for me, someone else is going to end up sewing them. So how difficult is it going to be for them? Are there any size restrictions, stuff like that? So we'll be looking into that here. So dimensions, fabric. Fabric is really important. So when making plushies, you normally think of something soft, right? So let me grab an example. So what I normally use for my projects is cotton fabric. And so cotton fabric is very thin. It's a little rough on the fingers. It's soft on the body, but when you think of having like a plushie, plushies are a lot softer. And so cotton fabric is not what we're going to be using. I still have to do more research into different types of fabric that we can use, but off the top of my head, minky is a good bet. So minky is what like babies' blankets are made out of. That's what it's most known for. But minky is very commonly used for plushies as well, because they have a little bit of give to them, a little bit more give than cotton fabric, but it still retains its shape. All right, I have actually Oliver Evans puppet on my desk. So this soft fabric up here, maybe this is minky. Minky is normally very soft to the touch. This particular fabric is also just very flexible, and what they did on the little hair pieces here is that they layered it, or they glued 2 pieces of minky together to give it a little more shape. But if I had to guess, this is minky. Yeah, you can see it has there's a layer underneath. So minky, it reminds me actually of a towel. So I did a project recently where I chopped off a towel, and I will never do that again. Because here I have a different towel right here. This is a cinnamoroll towel. And the thing with towels is that, so when I was doing the other project and actually cutting the towel, I noticed that the main composition of the towel are these like long strands that go this way, and then all these little pieces right here are little loops that are attached to those long threads. So once you actually start cutting a towel and then you start pulling out a part, the little loop pieces start coming out. You can actually like pull them off of the towel. And so I think that like plush blankets are all the same, in that once you start like cutting them up, the little loop pieces will start falling out, and then you could just pull them apart. And when I'm looking at this right here, you could see that it's actually, sorry, my camera's not that great, but you can see that there are vertical lines going back and forth, and if you were to cut those lines, then it would start you could start being able to pull out the fluff. That's a part of that. But yes, minky. So minky would be a good idea. I've also considered felt. So let me grab some craft felt. So I really wanted to create some felt pomodachis. I think I still might on the side. I'll just make them a little bigger than the little small shaped ones here. But craft felt is notorious for being a terrible, terrible piece of material to work with. It doesn't have stretch, so technically it does stretch, but then it looks warped after you stretch it. Thank you, Outcast. Thank you so much. So yeah, if I were to pull on this felt piece right here, you could see it clearly looks stretched out, and it keeps its shape. And when you're making a plush, you want a plush to be able to maintain its shape. And that's the thing with felt, is that it starts deteriorating its shape over time if it's being stretched. And so yeah, craft felt is a big no. I bought it because I thought it would be really cute to do. Oh my god, my chat on screen is tiny. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry about that. I'll fix it. I'll fix it the next. Let's see, actually. Yeah, the size is the same. Ooh, I'll have to fix that for next stream. I'm guessing it has something to do with like OBS connecting to Streamlabs. But yeah, so felt is not great. It does have this very interesting texture to it. It's a little bit rough. It's I think craft felt is made out of synthetic wool ? And like the whole thing with felt is that it's just a bunch of pieces that have been really pressed together. And there are higher quality felt pieces, like real wool felt. And wool felt is also good for making plushies, but it's more expensive. And so that's why it's not as commonly used. Also, it's a little scratchy, so that's why minky is more used for making plushies. But this is an option. We'll have to see, like, so some questions that I have for manufacturers. One, how much is it? Not only how much is it per little like animal guy, but how much is it for the actual fabric itself? Because if they do it like, okay, so per yard we're able to make this amount of plushies, then maybe I'll be like, okay, then make me enough plushies worth for 3 yards of fabric, and then I'll pay for the fabric or something like that. I'm not sure if they outsource it and they charge me per fabric, or if they just end up charging me per plush. But that's something to think about. So the first thing we're going to do is look at a pomodachi. So I have privileges to choose which one goes first. Also on the website here, it's just Google drawings, but pomodachi is first in this score. So we're gonna do a pomodachi first. Oops, I forgot that I changed my slide and I forgot to change this. So pomodachi is first in this square. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw the design, and then we're gonna go pick the colors for the pomodachi. So as you notice, I have my little whiteboard set up here. This is the whiteboard that I use to write my plans out for today to make sure that I'm on task. Honestly, it's really helpful. I've always had trouble with lists because sometimes they just feel really daunting if I put everything out on the page. But honestly, lists have evolved to become something a lot more helpful for me, because then I don't forget what I'm supposed to do. Because now if I don't write it down, I will forget. And so now I've made it a habit to write it down. But markers, I only have 5 different colors. So the colors of the mascots are not going to be exact, but that is okay. I will use other colors to substitute. What's really easy about the pomodachi is that it is 2 main colors, and then we have 2 secondary colors. So The yellow will obviously be the main body of the Pomudachi. The green is going to be the leaf on top. The red is going to be the mouth and the little blushies. And then, hi couple, welcome to the stream. And then the blue is going to be the eyeballs. Alrighty, so let's begin. So the first thing when you look at a Pomudachi, so this is a 3D render. Actually, I need to get the source, the person who made it. I will go ahead and link that in the description after this stream ends. But this was a rendered Pomudachi. Pomu drew a Pomudachi a long time ago, and I think it was pretty simple. I don't remember if it was stick arms or it was stick legs. But I'm drawing like what I remember the Pomudachi to be. With a little twig on top. Yay! So the Pomudachi is pretty simple, which is really nice. If we think about the 3-dimensional shape, the Pomudachi probably has a round base. Like this. And then there are different ways that we can think about it at the top. So I haven't tried to make actually a 3-dimensional Pomudachi before. But I'm thinking we can either think of it as a pyramid, like this. So, oh my god, do I remember geometry? That's the question. So we can think of it as a pyramid that all the sides end up coming to a point at the top here, or we can think of it as 2-dimensional. So you have one side here, and then you have another side there. And then you stitch it together. So like, we'll just do orange here. So then you stitch this together like that. And then you stuff it. So then when you look at the Pomudachi from the side, it's sort of like this. So then the face is like, so the face is like that, and you have a little arm sticking out here, and you have a little leg sticking out there. The side profile of this guy would look like this. So I think practically this little guy right here looks the most accurate. I think of Pomudachi almost like an onigiri. So like, if we were to actually draw like the onigiri food, so this is the front profile. You have a little piece of seaweed that comes through there. And then when you look at it from the side, the onigiri looks like that. And so that's what I sort of imagine. Ah, thank you, Multi. The shape you forgot the name is the cone. So if you think of it instead of a pyramid, it's a cone. Oh my god. Ew, geometry. It's really funny how I'm attempting to do this because I feel like I don't really have a good mind's eye. I am like trying my hardest to visualize these. But cones, we could think of the Pomudachi like a cone. And so I think, especially if it's sitting on top of a headband, ooh, that's reflective. Especially if we're setting it on top of a headband, it'll need to have like a flat bottom. It doesn't matter if it's square, it doesn't matter if it's circular, but it just needs to be flat to be able to sit on the actual headband itself. So I think this one that doesn't have an ass won't work because it can't sit. Oh no, the Apple discourse is now on YouTube too. Apple? I don't know what you mean. Please elaborate. So then this guy. So now we're gonna take this guy and then really like try to flesh him out. So if you have a cone, this is what the cone looks like. It's Pac-Man. So have you guys ever like taken like a lily pad shape, you connect the sides together and then you like roll it? This then creates the top of a cone here. Like that. So to draw it a little better, so we'll do orange here. So the orange is gonna be here, and then we'll draw the line coming down. Like that. There's a viral post on Twitter. People keep arguing about aphantasia and visualizing apples. Yes. Okay, I do know that. I remember when I think it was Alira, when Alira posted about it, I had some friends realize they had aphantasia too. And they're like, what? Crazy. So yeah. So the Pomodachi, if we were to do a cone structure, then it only has 1.1 sewing edge, I guess, if that makes sense. So the thing about having a cone is that the eyes are going to be not on a two-dimensional plane. And you're gonna get what I mean in a second. So I'm gonna draw it like this. So the eyes are gonna sort of look like this. Because this is 2D. And so the eyes aren't gonna be on one plane. What we want is this. On a flat plane. And so then I think a solution for that would be a pyramid with 3 different edges. And honestly, the reason I realized the reason why I'm able to go into in-depth like this is because I've tried designing the Pomodachi before in my head. But now that I'm thinking about it, when I'm thinking about like the other mascots, I don't think I'm gonna be able to go into so much detail. So when you look at a pyramid, I actually don't know how a pyramid looks like on a 2-dimensional scale. Actually, hold on. Is it like that? Yeah. I think it's like this. Because then these 2 edges are going to be stitched together. And then you have this going out there, this going out there, and then this is going to go out there. I'm pretty sure. Geometry. So then the whole idea with this Pomodachi will be this. There. And then from a side view, like that. Depends on how many sides the pyramid has. That is true. In this case, we just need 3 sides. I think. Yeah, I would think 3 sides. So this is the front. And then this is the side view. So now, when we look at the Pomodachi and its eyes and its face, it's going to be on one plane. And that is what we like. But that is what we'd like to have. Oh, you know what? Wee! There we go. Okay, that is more accurate. So this is like what it looks like from the inside, and this is what it looked like from the outside. So then also the base of the Pomodachi is going to look like that. So then there would be 3 different points here. 1, 2, 3. Man, I feel like I need to take a picture of this if I ever need to reference this again. um, yeah, so then my guess would be a pyramid shape would be the best thing for the pomodachi. Um, of course, when the manufacturer is actually going through this, they'll probably just do it whatever way that they know or what way that they have. But I think the takeaway from this is that we definitely want the pomodachi's face to be on one plane. And so I'm going to erase this, and then we'll figure out what shape the arms and the legs and the little leaf of the pomodachi should look like. I wish I could tell you that all of my notes from classes in the past look like this, but they don't. They only look like this with considerable studying already done. Like some people, they could just do beautiful notes right off the bat, and that's never been me. My notes are always very scattered, and then I have to compile them again to look nice. So let's do like a blowed up picture of a pomodachi. Well, wee. This looks considerably different than the one in the image, but that is okay. All right, so some things to consider. I automatically drew the arms going up, but this pomodachi has arms going out. I think I saw when Pomu did her last membership stream, she was drawing different pomodachis like as pomodachis, and I'm pretty sure their arms were up as well. But when we're thinking of the pomodachi on the actual headband, if it has arms that are up, it may bump into the mascot on the side. So I want to try drawing the pomodachi with its arms sort of like in front, sort of like little dinosaur hands, and seeing how that works. That's actually pretty cute. He looks pretty dorky. Not gonna lie. Hold on. What if I move these to be a little like okay. If his arms are like coming out the sides, sort of like flaps, it looks a little cuter that way. It looks like he's hugging himself. I actually don't mind this a lot. Having little dangly feet too would be really cute. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't look bad. So the question is now, if the hands are like this, are they actual plush hands or are they just felt? So one thing that's really popular right now, have you guys seen the Fuwa Kororins? So this is what the Fuwa Kororins look like for the most part. It's like a line of plushies for anime characters. I don't remember who's the brand maker, but they're like everywhere. So you have like a base little circle. This thing's like smashed in half like this. It's a little squishy. You get to go squeak squeak. Unfortunately it doesn't have any of the squeaker stuff in it, but the arms and the legs and it's cute, right? So like okay, let me go grab one. I actually have one. Alright, so the reason why I automatically do spiky hair and I use yellow was actually because I have this guy. So this is Skishima from Haikyuu, the Super Saiyan. So this is his Fuwa Koronin. So I actually got the proportions wrong. So the half part like of the ball is the head, and the rest is the body. And so if you look at his hands, it's actually whatever, like this is like the same kind of plush material that Oliver Sensei is. So it's sort of like a minky, but for at least these parts here, they've been glued together and then sewed in to give it a little more structure. Um, but the big things about these Fuwa Korodins is that they're not like true like plushies with arms and legs, because their arms and legs are just made out of either felt or the actual minky itself. And so when I'm looking at the Pomodachi, that's the question. If the arms are inside like this, do we want them just to be little felt pieces or want them to be like actual arms? Um, and so in the comments, go ahead and share what you would like to see. Um, I would go through and just make a poll, but that takes too much effort. So I'll just read whatever comments are in chat. Um, but personally, so like I don't really like how these are just little felt pieces. I think this is fine, like overall, just because he's like soft here. He has a lot of this minky stuff, but with a lot of the newer Fuwa Korodins, I noticed that they're almost all entirely this fabric right here. And the best way I could describe this is cute boys way, I know, right? The best way I could describe this is sort of like a rough, softer felt. So it's not exactly like as uneven and as rough as felt, but it still has a much rougher texture than this minky does here. Um, and I noticed that a lot of the plushies that are being made nowadays are being made out of this material because you can print on it. So if you can print on a material directly, like right here, you don't have to embroider, you don't have to actually make the clothes itself. And that's actually my qualm with these things. It feels like, because they're selling them for like, I don't know, maybe $12, $12 to $15, maybe even $18 a plush. And I feel like there was no like real effort put into it. Um, because a lot of the design has just been printed on here. So like the ones I'm thinking of are like the Demon Slayer ones. Haikyuu is a little easy because this is just a jacket. But like for Demon Slayer, and they have really intricate patterns. Like they're able to get those intricate patterns on a plushie. But it's not, it doesn't feel like a real job, fabric job, if that makes sense. So when I'm looking at the Pomudachi, like I want this thing to be an actual plush. So if it's gonna have arms, the arms are gonna be real. If it's gonna have legs, the legs are gonna be real. However, if that is too difficult or if it's too expensive, the cheapest option might just be to do this. So that is just something to think about. Doop, doop, doop. I'm gonna set Skishima aside. I want to look at other reference photos of a Pomodachi, so I'll just go ahead and do this. Ta-da! Pomodachi. Alrighty. So this is Luna's Pomodachi figure, plush. I highly recommend buying one from her. She's an awesome creator. And if you see like any pentomos or dragoons, or rosebud plushies around, she was selling them at Offkai Expo and they were super duper popular. And her plushies are really well made. So if you see her at a convention or if you go to her website, I'll go ahead and link it in the description afterwards. Oops, you can get your own pomudachi today. Ah, yes. So this is the pomudachi that Pomu first drew. I realize I've been drawing mine really like a pyramid, but it's more of like a mush. More like a little onigiri. Um, so looking at these pictures, I don't want to go too far. This is the pomudachi she made. She sewed it herself. I think she used felt. Um, Definitely would recommend Minky, but Minky is definitely more expensive. So most of these pomodachis have like arms up. Huh. So that's something that we'll have to consider. Um, Arms up or arms down? I guess then we'll just have these two different options. When we'll have these two different options when thinking about how they're made. Another thing we have not talked about yet is size. So I wish I oh so I think I've showed this on stream multiple times now, but this is a little 3D render of a pomudachi by SweatJP on Twitter. This is actually like perfect size for the headband. I think realistically a plush cannot be made this small, but it's a good representation of like what it could be. So if we set the headband down and then we put the pomudachi on here, ta-da! If all the plushies were this small, we could fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say 5 max probably. Yeah, so the first thing, if you look at the pomudachi and its little arms, it'll definitely take up more space and it can't be packed together if the arms are sticking upward. I like the idea of the feet up, actually, so then maybe... Sweat JP, I'm taking inspiration from your pomudachi. That's actually really cute. Doop doop. Damn, this looks major compact. I'm gonna reduce the size of the feet a little bit because feetsies. What direction? So his pomodachis are like out here. Feet are like out there. And then maybe we could shrink this down a little bit here. Also, another thing to consider is that the arms and the legs don't even have to be felt. They could just be embroidered. So it's like you'll have the outline of the arms and the legs on there. I feel that's a little more boring. Having three-dimensional would be really cool. Let's see. Because this looks really compact now that we have the hands and the feet inside of the pomudachi. So maybe if we go out, this, and this. That's cute. That's really cute. So almost the same thing as this. But I do not want to copy him because this is his design. No! I accidentally touched my whiteboard marker to my Sikifu wa Korori. No! It was on the white too. Out of all the black on the sweater, it happened to hit the white. This would be really cute. So this is an option as well. But let's go. There has to be something sticking out on here. Let me just erase this in total. Pomudachi is supposed to be like this little wobbly, dorky thing. So what if we do this, and then this. That's the same thing as this, essentially. We'll keep it. All right, so I'd say the minimum size for a plushie would be 2 inches. 2 inches in width. So that'll be from here to here. Like that. So then if we were to draw it to scale, this would probably be the bottom of the pomodachi. Let me actually redraw that. So the widest point would be this. So if a pomodachi is really like stubby and round, you can just do that. This is 2 inches. And 2 inches would actually be perfect on here. Honestly, the plush is probably going to have to be wider. So let's try 4 inches. 4 inches would be a lot. Okay, let's try 3 inches and then see how that would look. Whee. All right. So the width of this doesn't even like meet the whole width, the distance here. It'd probably be better if this then just increases, if this height is bigger to really accommodate the size. It's like, wee, like that. That's a good question. If it's 2 inches wide, does that mean it's also 2 inches tall? Let's find out. So if it's 2 inches tall, it'd be up here. 2 inches by 2 inches. So it actually looks better if it's not exactly 2 inches by 2 inches. I don't think there's any way that you can get a nice, like, chubby looking pomodachi without like really stretching it and meeting the same like width here. So I'm guessing whatever this is, this is like 1.75. It's 1.5. All right. So this right here is 1.5 inches. So 2 times 1.5 inches isn't bad for a pomodachi. What we can also do, because if this is going up here, this is what I meant by my notes are all over the place. I have not done the measurements on this before, so this is 3 inches. And then whatever this is right here, it's about 2.5. So 3 times 2.5 inches. That's good to know, so that there's a ratio here. That whatever the width is, the height is going to be about it's going to be about like 1.5 times that. Is that half? Half of that? No, a quarter less? Shoot, I can't do the math. 3 inches, a 3-inch pomodachi, I'd say, would take up the headband on its own. So if we're gonna stack multiple of them, I think 2 inches would be good. But I'd say the range for the pomodachi in terms of width would be anywhere between 2 to 3 inches. So even 2.5 inches would work. And then the dimensions of that would be a little different. So anywhere in between 2 inches to 3 inches here. Or even 2.5. So if it's 2.5 and then 2.5 up here, it's going to be 1.25, 1.75, 1.75. I think that's like half. So like if it's 2.5, then 1.75 inches. I think that's how it works. If you want a 3 to 4 ratio, it'd be a scale 2 to 1.5 or 3 to 2.25. Oh, interesting, really? 3 to 2.5. Ooh. Okay. I will ask you about that later. Because I do not understand what that means right now. Oh, 4-3 ratio. I'm like 3-4. Yeah. 4-3 ratio. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Um. So yeah, then we'll keep this in mind. That would probably be a good size. Now let's move on to the Wiwa. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's look at the color picker. So, okay, the first color for the Pomudachi is going to be a yellow. But the question is, how yellow is it going to be? Is it going to be like this bright neon yellow? Is it going to be a pale yellow? See, this Pomudachi here is a little bit of a pale yellow. This is more of an orange yellow. I like a little more pale colors. I think they look a little better. Let's try this. Let's see what this looks like. So we're gonna go custom paste. There we go. Okay. That's a good solid color for a Pomudachi. That is like, I feel like that's like quintessential yellow. We can try getting different hues and seeing which one that we like best. Question mark? Up here, up here. So this is like bright yellow. This seems to be like what people think of. Paste. You can see that there's a slight difference between the two. One has more color than the yellow, or than the other, because I went a little more white on one of them. I'd say those two hues are pretty accurate. I guess we can try something a lot lighter. I doubt that there will be fabric that's this color. Yeah, let's rearrange this. So it's darker, medium, and then lights. So then maybe I could send this to a manufacturer and be like, all right, which one do you have? And if they're like, we can make any of these, I'd be like, well, fuck. Yeah. Yeah, that should be fine. So this would be like our range of colors for the Pomudachi. And now we need to think about the other colors. One thing that we didn't talk about, which I will go back, let's go back to the drawing board. I'm gonna erase this right here. And on the bottom. One thing we also didn't talk about was the shape and size and I guess the thickness of the little leaf here. So the leaf could be made out of felt so that it's 2D. So that all it is, it's just a cutout like this, and then it sticks out of the Pomudachi. What we can also do with this is make it plush. So it's 3D, and when you look at it from the side, it's going to have this shape here, instead of looking like a stick. So if we're gonna think about it as a plush, there's also another thing that we can consider. Do you just want the leaf to be the plush, or do you want the leaf and the stem to be plush? We'll do that. And I think for simplicity's sake, it would be best to just do the whole thing. So not just this right here. It would have to be the stem and this. I think this would take a considerable amount of work. If we could shorten that, that would be better. Plus, it might also be a little bit cheaper. And if we're also looking at the Pomudachi design here, if the arms are going to be embroidered or if they're going to be felt, we might as well just do this out of felt too. Or even just minky that's been glued together. That gives it a little more structure, which is exactly what we have here. You have the little hair pieces that are sticking out because the minky now has structure being like glued to one another. So I think it wouldn't make any sense to do a plush leaf. Yeah, because it's also going to be really, really small. And I know from experience, when you sew things that are really, really small, it's really hard to turn it inside out. And so I think the best option would just be to do felt. I know I talk so much about like felt in the past, well, like talking about this guy. I guess felt isn't the issue that I have. It's that they bypass like having to sew actual outfits for these guys by just printing the design on the felt. That's probably what I have an issue with. But right. So let's move to our other page and then think of the green that we want. So I'd say let's go as green as we can go. It is a leaf. You really can't go wrong with a leaf color. Going too dark would change the hue. Going too light would make it really electric. So I think somewhere in the middle, like a nice forest green like this would work. Forest green. I guess a nice generic green. Oh, oops. Copy and paste. There we go. Yeah, I'd say that's a nice, pretty quintessential green. This green definitely stands out more with this yellow and this yellow. So this yellow is probably out of the running. Because if we were to have such a strong green color, it would really clash with this, which is really, really light. So I'd say we could just delete it and then decide between these two. I actually really like the way these two look. These two are really, really strong colors together, and I feel like they clash a little more. Sometimes you do want that to really bring your eye to it, but especially if we're going to have so many different plushies together with different colors, it might be nice to have one that's a little less strong. And then we also need the eyes. So I think the eyes are pretty easy. It's just going to be black. If we look at the example picture of the Pomudachi, its eyes are black. It also has like an outline. It can have an outline that's black. And then now the last thing that we need is the mouth. So I think it's just a pink. It's not going to be a hot pink. Maybe it's going to be a little more of like an orange pink. So we can go this way and go up here. A nice orange pink. I don't think the pink really matters. They'll probably just give me a pink and be like, here, this will work. And I'll be like, sure. Yeah. Yeah. I like having more orange in it because if we go, let's say we go straight up pink. Let me copy this and then move this up here. So let's say we do like pink, pink. So if you look at these colors here, they clash really strongly. This one really has no relationship between these here. So obviously that's really dramatic. So then let's choose a different shade of pink. Even this sort of magenta-ish pink. Even still, having too much pink and not enough red, it still doesn't quite fit the color profile. Maybe it's because this looks a little more like skin tone and we're used to seeing mouths drawn with either red or like a pale pink on the inside, but this just doesn't fit. So I think those are some good solid colors for the Pomodachi. So now let's move on to the Familiara. So let me change our reference picture. So Elira went ahead and drew a big reference picture for her Wiwas. And so we can go ahead and use this as a template. The Wiwas are really interesting because they have a lot of shape to them. So Wiwas are supposed to be like a little cloud. Or at least to me, they appear like a little cloud. I actually don't know the lore behind them. And so as a plush, that would be pretty difficult to try to recreate, and I'll explain why. So we'll use blue for the Wiwas. So let's draw a cloud figure. So this is what it looks like from the front. If we were to look at it from the side, sort of look like this. There we go. And Lazulai's mascots are so cute. They are, aren't they? I don't know how to draw this three-dimensionally, but essentially what I'm trying to say is that let's say you have two pieces of fabric and you put them together like this. So let's say the Wiwas three-dimensionally look like this. If you add these little pillow curves to the side, there's going to be a point here, here, and here where the fabric gets bunched up. And so it adds a little bit of character to it. It's better if it's not round, but it also makes the sewing process a little more complicated just because sewing curves are a lot more difficult than sewing straight lines. And so, excuse me, I'm thinking about the manufacturer and thinking like, oh man, sewing curves is such a pain, especially for something so small. It might not even be worth it. Like if you're gonna do a big Wiwa, it would make sense if you have these massive like cloud shaped bits and there's less of them. But especially if you're going small, if you look at her reference picture, they're just sort of like wee 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 wee, and that's a lot of them. It's really hard to be able to actually sew that. What we can also do is just simplify the shape. So make it almost like a flower with 5 different pieces. That's 4. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So simplifying it into 5 different pieces would also be a lot better. And if you also look, whoever is making it, they will have a base circle to use as a reference, and then they just sew in the notches here to give it a little bit of shape. So that'll make the Wiwa just a little bit easier to make. When we're actually thinking about putting it on a headband, how big does it need to be? This Wiwa would be really, really big. It would be just as big as the Pomudachi. That's about like 3 inches across. So let's actually measure this. Let's see. This is exactly 3 inches. I am a god. I knew that. And I did it by like totally intentionally. So we've already established that 3 inches is too big. And so if we were to make this smaller, what would that look like, and how many curves would be on the Wiwa itself? I keep calling it the Wiwa. Sorry if that is not the right term, Familiara. I think I've heard Illyra talk about it as a Wiwa. Let me know in chat if I'm right or wrong, and I will change accordingly. Let's go 2.5. So this is 2.5 inches. All right, so if it's 2.5 inches, how much smaller would this be? Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a little more compact. It would definitely be more difficult to try to to try to make this. It might be because I drew the petals like petals. I'm saying it like it's a flower. It's because I drew these really like high up. So if we reduce the width, maybe that'll be a little better. 4 and 5. So having less of a curve is definitely helpful. I think size-wise, like a 2.5 shape Wiwa would be perfect. I'm just crying for the manufacturer because like the way I think of this, it's not a machine that's sewing these, it's people's labor, and I'm guessing they're probably not getting paid as much as they should be. But that's not for me to judge. So I think 2.5 would be a good size. Let's see how wide this Wiwa is. It's about 2 inches. We'll just call that 2 inches. That looks about right. I like the idea of having it curved like this, but let's say that the manufacturer is like, no, that is not possible. What shape do we want to have the Wiwa? I would say if they can make a deformed edge, make a deformed edge. As long as it's a circle and it's a deformed edge, you could do that. It actually looks like a little blob. Alright, so what if we couldn't do a deformed edge? The Wiwa would just have to be a circle, like this. And that is okay too. Honestly, I feel like what makes the Wiwa would have to be the little headpieces up here. That's another thing to consider if the Wiwa is 2 inches. She has these little hair. Actually, let's draw that over here. So I'm going to erase this. And then I think this is fine. So we've established that the Wiwa is probably just going to be 2D. So the Pomodachi would have like a pyramid shape. The Wiwa would just be flat. So this is 2D. So if we draw the Wiwa regularly, puff, 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 puff. It's just a little puff ball. It's supposed to be a cloud. And then it has these 2 little wings here. Like that. And then it has the bottom half of the wings. It has a really cute, just derpy looking eye, very simple. 2 rectangular shaped legs, question mark. Has little feetsies. A tail with a little cloud puff at the end. Oh yeah, it has the Wiwa actually has paw prints. That's really cute. And then it has a plus sign. So the plus sign is up here. All right. First thought through my head, this would be embroidery. I think that'll be a lot easier to do. Embroidery. Rather than, it's okay. We could do embroidery or felt. Whatever is easiest. I don't know how much effort or how much work each one takes, but if it's a felt piece, you just smack it right on. If it's embroidery, you just embroider it right into the face, right into the head. Obviously, the eyes are going to be embroidery. Are the color of the eyes and the mouth going to be the same color as the body? That is a good question, because the little eyes could be black and the mouth could be black. Illyra drew them all with the same color, and that might just be for simplicity purposes. But I'm gonna look up some reference pictures of the Wiwas and then see what other people draw them as. It's funny how I could put a Pomodachi into Google and Pomodachis will come up, but if I put Familiar and nothing shows up, I have to specify Nijisanji. Alright, I see some Wiwas. I see a Wiwa with the same color as the rest of the ears. That's about it. I think everyone does draw the Wiwa with the same color, so maybe that'll be really easy for the manufacturer, just keep the same colors. Obviously, if it is embroidery though, then the thread color is going to be different from the actual base color of the wing here. But this is going to be colored in like this. This piece is not going to be colored in. The feetsies are going to be colored in. So now let's imagine this on an actual headband. So I'll place this here. So this guy needs to be sitting down. We'll just do. So if he's sitting down, where are the feet gonna go? If we're looking at him from like a top-down point of view, the feet could be coming out like this. So then that means the feet would be like here, but they would be coming out towards you. They could also just be felt. So the feet, I drew them as like little curves here. So they could be just two little squares coming out the bottom. Another option would be having the feet come up like this, but I don't like that. I don't think that looks really good because it looks really deformed if that's the case. So we have the two little eyes. And then for her hair pieces, these would have to be felt. Because making a plush of this size is really, really hard. If the Iwiwa is like small, it like these hair pieces are going to be even smaller, so it makes sense to make these out of felt. This would be blue felt. And then if they can somehow add some white felt to it, that would be fantastic. In the chance that they can't make these, that is okay. But I think we need to have the little, like, the representation of Alira's hair pieces at the top. And then, last question, do we add the tail? There is definitely no way we can make her little, like, wing pieces here because they levitate off her body. That works really well for drawings, but for IRL, I think that's gonna be very difficult. You can try having wires sticking out and like attaching those little pieces, but that's gonna be really complex, and I want to try to make these as simple as possible. So I think the tail is also going to be a no. I can ask about it. If anything, the tail will just come out the back end looking like this. This will probably be felt back here, and then whatever this is probably going to be some wire. Is wire going to be comfortable? Probably not. And you wouldn't want it like poking anywhere. Oh, actually, if we look at the Wiwa's ass, this could either be embroidery or felt. Yeah. Nice. So this will be felt. So this part would be embroidery or felt. This part would be felt. This part would be embroidery or felt. The feetsies would also be felt. Like that. But that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So then number one, see if you can make it, like, see if they, oh, my camera died. Give me a sec. There we go. So number one, see if they could make it deformed shape. Two, it'll just, the Wiwa will just be round. And that's gonna have to be okay. All right. So now let's go on to her colors. So her colors are very interesting. I had a hard time trying to figure out what shade of blue exactly is the Wiwa. So first things first, I think it's going to be, rather than somewhere in between purple and blue, it's going to be between light. Oh, okay. There it is. It's going to be somewhere in between like a lighter blue and a darker blue. This is a pretty good color right here. Let's go ahead and put that in the dot and see how that looks. Yeah, yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate. Um, oh man, I don't have the tab on here. I'm gonna switch tabs a little bit. So if you look at the reference picture, it's a light pale blue. It doesn't have a lot of like blue saturation in it, unlike the drawing that I did. I'm gonna go back to the other page, but this is a pretty. I think that's a pretty good blue. I was not expecting it to get it that quickly. So let's try some other shades. So let's if we do a little more blue here, and then we bring it down a little bit lower. We have this darker shade. It still has the same sort of pale. Um, there we go. It still looks pale, but it has definitely more color to it. Let's try one more that's like really, really light. So if we look at this and it's really, really light, you're gonna want to bring it more to the green in order to bring out more of the blue, if that makes sense. All right, so we have three different shades here. We have Alira's like 1.0 hair blue, we have Alira's 2.0 hair blue, and then also another blue from Alira's 2.0. Um, I'd say this is really dark. If you think about the Wiwa's hands and feet being this color, I think that is really dark. So I'm gonna delete that one. So it's gonna be in between these two. I'm really liking this color, but I will have this color also just in case the second blue is cute. Yeah, just in case oh, sorry, which second blue are you talking about? Um, the one that I just deleted or the other one that's on here? Uh, and then the Wiwa also has purple. So I'm gonna drag this over here more saturated. Um, her plus sign is almost like a magenta. But it has more pink to it. So it's gonna be over here somewhere, question mark? Or even just a little more red. No, let's see. Let me check the reference photo. Let's see. All right, if we look at the if we look at Pickle and we look at Alira, it's definitely more of a uh, so let's see. It's definitely more of a magenta purple color. I do not like this color though, so I'm not that's actually okay. I like the brightness of it. I think it'll add to the color scheme a lot. Yeah. Yeah. I accidentally pressed copy. Ah! Undo. Paste. There we go. It needs to have more purple. It is not purple enough. We're gonna go this way. This way. That's too purple. Oh, this one's hard. Maybe I have to go this way. Or maybe I have to go darker. Maybe that's it. And then go pink. Let's see. Damn it. There we go. This. This. I think that's it. Or even going a little more purple because I was afraid to go there. Let's try it out. I think the nice thing about the Wheela, it has a pretty simple color palette. Mmm. All right, so this one's definitely out of the running. It clashes, it's too light. It clashes way too much with this. Having a darker, actually, I really like these two right here. I think they complement each other really well and that they're a little faint on color. this would look really good with this because this is heavily saturated and this is less saturated. These two don't quite match. So I'd say if we choose this blue, take this purple. If we choose this like magenta, take this blue. So I'm gonna copy this and move it. Okay. Well, it's here. Ah! I want it to be nice and organized, but it's not organized. Yeah, that's good enough. So now we have two different shades of purple and blue for Lyra. Is there anything else we have to worry about? I don't think so. It's just white, blue, and pink. So then let's go on to the Ryu guards. Where are my Ryu guards at? Ryu guard. Alright, before something sussy pops up because it's Finana. We'll move back to this screen and then I will change my reference picture to the Ryu guard. I love the Ryu guard design. It is so cute and I love how there's just not a thought in that brain. It's perfect. And I want to be able to do that too for a Ryu guard plushie if I do that. No. My camera is not having it today. I added actually some extra tape and it caused my camera to act up. So I shouldn't have messed with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay. So the Ryu guard main color will be green. And then we'll add some of the other extra stuff with yellow, and then some of the accentuating details with the blue. So the Ryu guard is an interesting shape. The way I'm thinking about it, it'll be a cone. Yeah, it's so cute how the eyes are bugged out and it looks so empty. I love it so much. That's why I like the Pomodachi so much. The Pomodachis look a little stupid too. So when you think of a fish, fish are two-dimensional this way. Sorry, they're three-dimensional this way. So the eyes are like bugged out of the head like this. And then you have the mouth right here. So if the Ryu guard is like this, it will not have a place to sit. Now that I'm thinking about it too, the Wiwa wouldn't be able to sit either. So the Wiwa would have to be a ball. It would have to be a circle. Yeah, okay. I'll have to change that. The Wiwa is going to be a circle. But the Ryu guard, if it's two-dimensional like an actual fish, like this, it wouldn't be able to sit. So what I'm thinking of, especially because when you look at the Ryu guard here, its face looks like it's on one plane. I think it's going to be a reverse cone. Like that. So then its eyeballs are going to be on one plane. One here, one here. And then you're gonna have the mouth on one plane too. It's so cute! I love the Ryu guard. Pomodachi's heads are empty like our Oshi, exactly. I'm just gonna... There we go. So then from a side view, it might end up having to be 3 different parts. So instead of like a flat head, it might have to come out like this, down, and then come out this way, like this. Or it can't even be a cone because it has to lay flat here, and then this would have to come down like that. So this would probably be the shape of the Ryuguard. It has a tail. There. It has a tail now. I'm guessing these like ridges here. So it has these fins. So it goes up, 2, 3, down. These fins would probably be made out of felt. The tail is questionable. It could be a plush, depending on what the manufacturer thinks of. Fish. Yeah, exactly. It could be plush. The arms for the Ryuguard, I would say would have to be felt. That would definitely be felt. Shaping like that is a better base so it could sit. Exactly. So I think so far that I can think of, the Ryuguard is the only one that's going to like sit really far back. It's going to like sort of come off the headband like this. Like the Pomudachi, I imagine. Oh, I should have measured the length of the base, actually, what they would be. We measured the width and the height, but not really it's like, was it the Z dimension? Let's actually measure that right now. So the maximum amount that it could go over the edge, I would say 1.5 inches. If you look at 2 inches, like something that's 2 inches wide sitting on the headband like this would take up a lot of space. So I'd say 1.5 or 1.75 would be the best size for this. So let's write that down so I don't forget. 1.75 width or 1.5 inches. So I think the only exception, the one that'll be the longest, will probably be the Ryuguard. So the Ryuguard might end up extending 2 inches, which is okay. That'll just be, it'll be more narrow. So the Ryuguard would be here. This would it be considered the length? Because its XYZ is different than the others. The Pomudachi and the Wiwa would have like their bases would be complete circles, but the Ryuguard would be a triangle? Question mark? Yeah, it'll be a triangle. So if we're looking at it from the top view, it'd look like this. Oops, you can't see that. So then this length would be most likely 2 inches. And then how wide would the fiche be? I would say it'd probably have to be more narrow than the others. It might even be like, for the others, we did 2 to 3 inches, maybe about 2.5 in width. But the Ryuguard might have to be either 2 inches or 1.5. Let's try that. 1.5 to 2 inches in width. So its Z-plane going that way is going to be really long, but this is going to be a lot thinner. Well, here's the thing, like when I think of them all on top of the headband, they're all about the same shape. So the Ryuguard is going to have like the same head shape as the others. So then it wouldn't make sense if this is a little bit smaller, because then it wouldn't have the same. It might just be that it's not going to be longer, but it's going to have the same width for the face, and then it's just going to come to a point shorter. So it's just going to be a little more stocky like this, rather than like that. So we'll keep the dimensions the same as the others. Now for the shape. So how is this gonna work? So in my head, immediately, I'm thinking of this like a tunnel. So you have a flat base that is a singular piece, and then you're gonna have two pieces that are gonna come up like this and be stitched at the top, right here. So if we look about it, so this is like front view. If we look about it from a side view, that almost looks like a whale. It's going to be stitched along here like this. However, the base is going to come out like this. Like that. So it's going to go like that. That looks really good. I can actually draw three-dimensional shapes. So then these X's mark the connection points between these right here. So then if I had to guess, the fin part is going to be felt. It's going to be sewed in like this. So this would be felt. That's why I'm like, maybe the tail could be plush, because it could just be a part of the actual plush itself, rather than the plush just finishing here and then there's a little like fin. The face. So yeah, so there might actually be another component here. It might have to be that it's circular here. So it comes down this way. Oh my god, it looks like I'm trying to make a piece of meat. It's gonna be circular here, because then there's going to be another face part that comes out this way. So the face then is not going to have a base. The face is just an extension here, and it's going to end right at this point. So this is the base, and then the face is going to come out the front. And then the face is where the eyes are going to be. So here's one, the other is going to be over here somewhere, and then you have the mouth. Whee. Like that. Fish tacos. Yeah, exactly. She's, when you break it down, she looks like a fish taco. So now we have the question, the helmet. So I'm gonna erase all of this and go a little bit more into her design. Oh, just kidding. Before that, her little like pieces here, this would either be embroidery or felt. Embroidery or felt. I think embroidery would be the easiest here, but it just also depends on the manufacturer. Oh, and the arms. So the fish has arms. So they're probably going to come out like this. Well, so I drew them facing back, but they could also just come facing straight like that. So from a front perspective, the arms would just look like this, like that. And so they could either be felt horizontal. So then when we look at the side view, they come out here like this. So they're going to be flat. Or they're going to look like this. There's a lot of components to this. I'm starting to get hungry. Or they can come out like this. I guess it really doesn't matter. As long as the hands of the fish aren't like pushing the others away. We want it to be as like compact as possible. Yeah, so then the face could either be embroidery or felt. So now the question is the helmet. So let's draw the helmet. Alrighty, so let's draw the front profile of a fish. So the way I see it, you have the helmet coming down here. Eye socket, face. Dang, a Chad chin. Alright, so then we're gonna draw the helmet up here. We're gonna draw the eyeballs right here. And in the mouth. Hehe. All right, and there are these little like water type decorations right there. And then you would have the spines of the actual fish, like that. Blah, 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 blah. How would you do the helmet? Because that would look really, really interesting if you... Well, okay, first of all, I think it would be very, very difficult to try to incorporate yellow fabric into the green. As in, like, if you were to cut out the face and then sew the helmet into it, I think that would be very, very difficult. It would make more sense to make the entire fish and then just to make the helmet as an accessory. Which might end up having to be the case if we just draw the fish. So fish, eyeball, face. That looks a little wonky. This is like the meme where you're looking straight at someone's face from a downward angle. Alright, so then if we had the fish like this. This marker doesn't want to work. Then the helmet part would have to come down like this over the front, and then it will already have these decorations right here, which is fine. It looks better as a little helmet piece than it does as just like a part of the fish. So then we'll make this felt, because I think that's the best option. They might end up adding like another piece of minky, which is fine. Yeah, I think that's it. So the arms can either be plush or they could be felt. Whatever is easiest, and also whatever is cheaper. Alright, so now let's try to do the colors. The Ryu Guard colors are going to be interesting, because if you look at a Ryu Guard... Let's go to the other page. So if you look at a Ryu Guard, so Finana herself is very, very green. Her hair is very saturated, but the Ryu Guard isn't very saturated. So then how are we going to get this nice balance of blue and green? So we'll start less saturated over here, bright, but closer to white. And let's see what we can get. This is more green. All right, so then if we start making it a little darker. Well, actually, should we just bring it more to white? Because the Ryu Guard doesn't glow. Like this has like a really bright tone to it. So let's bring it down. But if we mute it, it doesn't look that good. So maybe you just have to make it darker over here. No. Oh, okay. I like this. Right here. More green or more blue? Definitely more blue. It's gonna be over here. Ah. Oh, this looks good. Yeah, so this looks a little bright, actually very bright, but I mean, if we start taking away some color out of this, it's gonna look very, very gray. It's gonna look very dead. And I'm not quite sure how to get the color to be colorful, but just not as bright. Let's try this one right here. Okay. Yeah, this is like a muddled sea green. I don't like that. We want the Ryugar to be alive and to look. Let me change that a little bit. I made it a little bit brighter. That's a little better. This has a little more color to it. It's a little darker, but that's okay. Because the thing that I want to look out for is that if I put too much gray in the base color, it's gonna blend in too much with the helmet. So speaking of the helmets, we could just use any color and make a gray. Um, I think this darker gray would work. Let's place this like that. A darker gray would stand out definitely on the head. This actually looks like it'd be good for the shadows on the helmet. So maybe we have to choose a lighter gray and work from there. I'll put this down below here. Paste. Oops. Paste. I I notice normally when I cut and paste, I look at my keys. Now I'm so far away from my keyboard, it's a little hard to see. Huh? Oh, I wasn't pressing control. There we go. All right. I really like the way these two look. I think they're from the same color palette, but this is too light. So we'll go a little darker. There we go. If this is the base gray, we could actually go a little darker with that top gray. Yeah, let's do that. We'll go here. I can always undo it too if it doesn't look good. There we go. That would be nice. Having this inside of this gray would look really good. Now we need the blue inside her fins and the same with her little design here. The blue in her fins are going to have a little bit of a greenish tone to them. Ooh, I like this right here. Sort of has gray to it. Yeah, this blue. It's sort of like the Weewa blue a little bit. I'll put this in here. Okay, that's perfect. It's like a greenish blue. That would be a good accent for the fins. Then we're gonna need a darker blue for the fins, and I think I will take this out to be the mouth. Here, let me copy. Okay, that is that. This will be whatever darker blue we choose. So I'm gonna go down the scale, go like serious blue. This looks more like purple. And choose from here. It looks like just a darker version of this. I'm gonna put this next to this and see what that looks like. It's a little too stark. We need something lighter. This definitely has more gray to it. I hope that's okay. That works. That doesn't look bad at all. It would be a nice, like, little gray in there. If they could print it, it could be any color, really. And then now for the mouth. So the mouth, I'm just gonna cheat and use the same color as the Pomodachi, because don't fix what's not broken. Ta-da! There we go. I think that's a nice color palette for the Ryu guards. Oh my god, the Familiara is so simple. I realized though, we need to put white in here. Because her base color is white. There we go. I realized because it's a transparent background, it might be a little hard to see. So yeah, let's look back at the rest of Lazulite. So the Pomodachis could either have this lighter yellow or this really goldenrod yellow. It really just depends on the kind of material the manufacturers have. We also have a plain green, black, and then a mouth color. The Familiara, there's two different gradients we can have here. So this is the more teal, sorry, not teal, like a grayish blue. The Wiwas look more grayish blue, and I feel like this magenta would really complement that. But this color is also her 1.0 hair. So, and I think a more purple would look better for her 1.0 hair. So it just depends on what color would end up looking better as a color combination on the actual Wiwa itself. I'm leaning more towards this side. It'll just be these three simple colors then. But I kept this here just in case we need a variation. And then the Ryu guards. So if you look at the Ryu guards, they look a lot more muted than the Pomodachi and the Familiara. There's a lot more colors because you have you have accents, accenting colors inside of the base color. So the base colors, I'd say 1, 2, 3, and 4. But these colors are part of the helmet, part of the fins, and they're just extra colors to have. All right, sliding down a little bit. So now we have the pentomos, the dragoons, and the rosebuds. I was gonna keep going until and try to get as many of them as possible, but actually I feel like we made some pretty good progress with Lazulite. So maybe I'll just do each stream a different wave. And then each week I will update as I try to find a manufacturer, send like design ideas to them, and then see what they say in response. I think it'd be really cool to do this live. So that you guys could also see the process as this is going on. This is a learning experience for me, and I think it's a good learning experience too for anyone else who's interested. I'm just fixing my video camera. Alrighty, so that's a lot of good brainstorming, a lot of good work done. I think if I did this on my own, I feel guilty because it feels like I'm wasting time. But actually being able to talk about each part of it is really, really helpful, because then I can answer any questions the manufacturers might have. As in, like, do you want this to be felt? Do you want this to be plush? My camera died again. I'm just gonna leave it. But yeah, it's exciting to actually make this come to life. I realized that by having everything on a whiteboard, I'm gonna have to redraw everything on a sheet of paper anyways. So I'll have to take time into doing that, but it definitely helps just be able to draw everything out and then be able to finalize everything then on another sheet of paper. I think it would definitely help to be able to do the art online, but I don't have access to that. All I have is my mouse, and I do not want to draw with my mouse. So I think drawing on a sheet of paper would be the next best thing. So I'll just stop the stream early since we finished with Lazulite. I'll go ahead and post screenshots of the progress that we did on Twitter, just to show people like, hey, like this is ballin', it's going. So I have a gorilla stream tonight for the Evil Within. I was about to say the Evil Within 2. No, it's just the regular Evil Within. I had mentioned before that I wanted to start playing a little bit more just to finish this game because Selene Tatsuki from Obsidia just started her own playthrough, and I didn't want our playthroughs to overlap. But after watching her first playthrough, like I forget how slow going through this game can be just because it's very difficult. But even still, like I want to play some more just to play some more. So there's going to be a Gorilla Evil Within stream tonight. And then tomorrow, instead of in the evening, my Evil Within stream is going to be in the morning. Hi, Brendan. Thanks for coming today. Yeah, we're going to be finishing a little bit early. My camera's frozen right now. I'm just going to keep it that way. I'm going to remove the tape and then try again. I tried adding some more tape and it didn't work, and I shouldn't have tried to fix it. But I will be back here tonight. I put 8:15 because I don't think I'll be back home right at 8, so just to give myself a little more time to set up. But we're gonna finish off. Actually, we finished chapter 8. We're gonna be doing chapter 9, I think, or chapter 10. I don't remember. But we'll be finishing from where we left off, so we'll play tonight. I have to be a little bit quieter when I play. Because I had my headphones on when I play, so I don't notice how loud I am when I stream, and I definitely don't want my neighbors come knocking at my door like, "Hey, shut the fuck up," and I'm like, "I'm sorry." So I'm gonna try to reel in my reactions a little bit, but it'll still be fun. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening, and I will see you guys later tonight at 8:30. Bye bye. Thank you for coming.